Hey, what's going on, my friends? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Victor, and today I'm going to share with you 7 bizarre things that happen after you have a Kundalini awakening. A lot of you probably weren't necessarily even intending on having a Kundalini awakening. I know I wasn't. It's just something that kind of happened to me. But even once I found out that, oh wow, all this stuff is happening to me because of this Kundalini awakening, even when I was aware of that, I was still multiple times quite flabbergasted at some of the experiences I was having. Some of the things that started to happen to me after this Kundalini awakening, I couldn't really I couldn't talk about it with people. It was just me trying to reconcile this type of thing happening that was quite, just to say it's unusual, it's an understatement, mind-blowing. However, this was like 15 years ago, I had my Kundalini awakening, and I've come to redefine a lot of these bizarre symptoms and experiences. And that's the whole intention of this video, to let you know that these things can happen. And when you're aware of them, your experience of them can be a lot different, we'll say. An example I'll just share before getting into the video. One of the things I was surprised at is I went through this phase where multiple times I would go to bed and I'd lay down, and once I started to kind of get relaxed, my entire body would start vibrating almost violently. Intense ripples of physical feeling energy would just start like rushing through my entire body. And I was like, what the hell is happening? Am I having a panic attack? Am I dying? What is going on? And I finally talked to somebody, and they said, oh no, you're just about to pop out of your body. That just means you're about to have an out-of-body experience. Oh, okay, interesting. So the next time that happened, I remembered that guy said that, and sure enough, he told me, he said, next time it happens, bro, just let go. Just relax, you're going to pop out. At that point, I never had an out-of-body experience. I was like, okay, whatever, I have nothing else to lose. So sure enough, I followed his advice, I let go, and to my own amazement, I popped out of my body. I looked down, there I am sleeping, and off I was traveling around, free as a bird, flying around the astral plane. So that's the intention of this video. That sums up the essence. When you know what to expect, you can respond appropriately and then benefit from all of which being blessings. All these bizarre symptoms that might scare you and frazzle you and frustrate you and worry you. When you see what they really represent, you'll see they're a blessing in disguise. Number 1, and we're going to just jump right into it. You're probably going to find yourself a bit skeptical, but bizarre thing number 1 is oftentimes after a Kundalini awakening or a spiritual awakening of any kind, your entire life completely just starts to fall apart at the seams. All aspects of what you deem normal, safe, stable, bye-bye, gone, many times simultaneously. You're dumped by your girlfriend, you're fired from your job, your parents boot you out of the house, here you are, like, what the hell was this about? Why is this happening? I thought Kundalini awakenings are supposed to be a good thing. This exact thing happened to a good friend of mine. His name is Matt. And he had like a real classic Kundalini awakening where somebody initiated it in him with something called Shaktipat. Shaktipat, you can take it for what you will, but allegedly there are gurus out there that can like touch you on the forehead and basically create a full-blown Kundalini awakening experience. And sure enough, my friend Matt had this happen. Someone did that to him, and he said instantly he found himself just completely overcome with those feelings you may have had, that divine ecstasy, the bliss, the energy rushing up your spine, that cosmic little glimpse of cosmic consciousness while you're at it. And he was like, whoa, I am God, I am everything, this is amazing, thank you. 30 days later, he owned a restaurant. He had to close it down. His relationship fizzled out. He found himself getting addicted to drugs. He had to drop out of law school. His parents were not believing in him anymore. He found his entire life was pretty much shattering. And he went back to the guru and he said, what have you done to me, man? This is not good. He said, everything's falling apart. And the guru just kind of was like, and I've met this guy before. He's kind of like an interesting dude. You wouldn't think of him as a guru. He's kind of like a nonchalant dude, almost like speaks bluntly. He's like, oh, well, he kind of like brushed it off. He's like, well, apparently all those things were not founded upon you, your authentic self. When you have a Kundalini awakening, all that is not a creation or manifestation of the real you, the unconditioned, pure you, because the real you is essentially emerging. That's what the Kundalini energy is doing. It's pushing out, breaking down all that is not you. It will be reflected in your daily life. Now, fast forward a few years, I know Matt, he's a close friend of mine. He has a successful business. He met the love of his life. He just bought his first home. He's been super happy because he's got this new dog named Cosmo. And he's got soulmate friends, real friends. His entire life is night and day from what it was. He was burnt out, stressed, living a very inauthentic life. Yeah, it was scary when it all broke down, but now he's literally living the dream. So understand, if things are trying to fall out of your life, things are breaking down, there's a reason. And there's something better just waiting to come in and replace it. Number two, you might find, and this one's a bit more mild, though still a little bit bizarre. You might find that your diet, the things you prefer to eat, the things that make you feel good and energized is completely changing, big time. And you might find that it will continue to change. For example, when I had my Kundalini awakening, I was really, and I still am, really into fitness. I was working out a lot, doing a lot of intense conditioning and, bodybuilding, all that kind of stuff. So I ate a lot of animal protein. I was one of the guys that ate a gram of protein per pound of body weight. So I was eating 200 grams of protein a day almost at the time. And all of a sudden, I just became repulsed by red meat. I couldn't do it. I was eating it multiple meals a day at that point. And I was like, what is the deal? Why am I so turned off, put off by red meat? Just the consistency, I couldn't do it. So just naturally, I cut it out of my life. And then the exact same sort of experience happened with chicken. I started eating a lot of chicken to get my protein in. And I was like, God, I can't eat chicken. I went to fish next. Sure enough, I had this weird experience with a big lobster tail. And I was like, I can't do seafood anymore. So I started looking up vegetarian bodybuilding and stuff. I became a vegetarian. And even that had to go. That started to at some point feel a little bit too heavy. It took me out of a place of clarity. It seemed to almost bring on Kundalini awakening symptoms, physical annoying symptoms. So I cut out the dairy, cut out the eggs, and all of a sudden I was a vegan. And you think I'm done? I'm not. Then I became a raw vegan. And then you think I'm done. I'm not. Then I realized I was eating too many raw nuts, that I had too much fats from nuts coming into my diet. So I started juicing. I started living off freaking juices, raw organic juices. At one point were about all I could tolerate. 30 pounds later, friends and family are worried about me. What happened to you, man? Someone once said to me, actually, they said, Vic, you look like you're about to blow away in the wind. I'm just doing what feels natural to me. And then at that point, I was like, okay, I guess I'm a raw vegan. This is just who I am. Okay, cool. I got this spiritual ego going and this new identity, this new high vibe identity. And then my health declined dramatically and I had to start eating heavier foods again. And my point is, all of this is why? It made no sense to me. I was in my early 20s and all of a sudden, something I've been eating since I was young, all of a sudden I couldn't do. And the changes came on sort of incrementally, but brought me to a point that I never thought I would be. And I can look back now and see that it served me. I can look back and see that rarefied diet, if you will, it was a way of cleansing, doing almost a cleanse of my entire life, basically. It represented a massive physical purge and just a detox from all the impurities of my life. And was it a little bit unusual? Yeah, but I'm in great health now. Everything is balanced out beautifully. Anyway, the point is to trust it. All these things can seem like problems when you don't understand the benefit. Another one that kind of caught me off guard, I would say closed eye visuals while sober, especially while I went to sleep. I don't know about you, but when I went to sleep for about a year or two there, it was a freaking light show, a psychedelic light show. I would see faces, I'd see lights, I'd see geometric patterns just coming at me. And it was extremely distracting and very difficult to sleep. I would even find that Kundalini energy would rush up my spine from time to time. Here and there, I'd pop out of my body and have an out-of-body experience. And it got, at the time, because I was so afraid, I thought there was something really wrong with me. It was very dark. I would experience like negative entities and all sorts of crazy, it was that same kind of spiritual openness colored completely by my fear and lack of understanding. And therefore it was a terrifying, nightmarish experience until someone, again, another person I met said, just to let go, just to allow, just to know you're fine, know you're safe, and just breathe. And it changed. It was still unusual, I will admit. It never became like where I saw like Archangel Michael and God and Jesus and stuff like that. But I will say I didn't deal with those negative energies as much anymore. And it became something that I just kind of accepted. Like it wouldn't happen every day, but many days it would. And when it would, I'd have the light show. I'd just say, okay, I guess I'm not sleeping for a few hours. I guess I'll just enjoy this. I just came to accept it and to trust it. And another way of looking at it is that is also a representation of our heightened intuition, our expanding consciousness. Our consciousness is expanding to such a degree we're able to see the unseen, feel what seems like it's invisible. We can tap into these other overlapping realities that sometimes have beneficial information for us. And the same openness can also be turned inward to have a tremendous amount of insights, and also upward to receive divine guidance. So yeah, the phenomena of like the psychedelic light show while trying to like get some sleep, distracting, inconvenient, and then initially scared the crap out of me, is connected to so much more. If you're having this means you're just blasting your third eye wide open, and the practical benefits of your life of being that much more intuitive can't even be summed up in words. I'm not going to even try. But another thing I never expected was to lose all my friends and to find myself completely alone, unable to relate with anybody. I felt like if I was to just be myself, speak, the thoughts that popped in my head, share my honest take and opinion and perspectives and beliefs and so forth and experiences on life with all the people in my life, I was sure to lose them. And even beyond that, even beyond me choosing to kind of mute myself from being super honest about what was going on with me, even that almost is irrelevant, because there was like an actual feeling of people just falling out of my life, an awareness of an increased like dissonance, like a vibrational dissonance between me and some of like the key players of my life. I just had this knowing that they're not really meant to be in your life anymore. You're no longer compatible. You start seeing people very differently. They start looking at you very differently. And all of a sudden there was just all these like natural parting of ways with like multiple people. And I found myself having like prior, like a whole bunch of buddies that I would hang out with. And tons of phone numbers I can call and go and chill with my friends and stuff. And all of a sudden it's like, just me and my wife, my girlfriend at the time, and that was it basically. I'm blessed to even have a girlfriend. I know a lot of people are completely alone, and that sucks, right? It does. It is very lonely. And when you're in that, it'd be hard for me to sell you on the benefit. This hurts. I'm a social creature, Vic. I need friends. Why am I so alone? It's depressing. And I admit it is. But as you can probably have gathered from the theme of the video, one, there's a benefit to being alone. A lot of times we are so occupied with life that we don't even know who we are. We just are sort of like thrust into this character that's conditioned, influenced, reinforced by our parents and our peers and our friends and society, and we just become these like completely disconnected, divorced, weak expressions of who we truly are, and we never have the time to really self-reflect and get clear on who am I? What are my values? What matters to me? What does it mean to be a friend? And when you're alone, you have time to focus on yourself and to give yourself the time and energy you need. Now, that's some of you are still like, this still sucks, bro. I want some friends. I get it. Beyond that, once you do that, Once you reconnect with your true self and start living as your true self, new people come in. And these are like soulmate type of relationships, without sounding too airy-fairy. People that you meet sort of naturally, synchronistically, they float into your life at the perfect timing, and you have there's this feeling of recognition. Like, I know this person. I really like them. They feel familiar. And I can sense they feel the same way about me. And all of a sudden, your life becomes filled with people just like that. You meet soulmate relationships of all types, even acquaintances, people that you brush up against only here and there, eventually have this type of frequency matching with you. And all your relationships, they're not easy. You still learn a lot from all of them and stuff. Actually, especially the soulmate ones, you really do. But the point is, the fulfillment, the trust, the reciprocation, where if you're a really good friend, you're going to attract people just like you, really good, like sincerely wanting what's best for you. And your social circle will grow once again, I promise. But just like your life falling apart, it's going to be a massively upgraded version. And sometimes it even involves the old characters of your life coming back. They went on their transformation. They needed their time to find themselves. And here you are back again, almost as new people though. Another one, which I bet most of you are feeling right now, is a ridiculous sensitivity to energy of all kind, not just people. I'm not just talking about like stereotypical empath symptoms where you're feeling a lot of people's moods and stuff, even though you probably are. I'm talking energy, man. I'm talking like you start to be able to discern, I would say, like higher vibration and lower vibration energies. And you might find that you're even starting to like choose different things to watch on TV. You become aware of like the energetic quality of all the stuff that you allow into the input that you allow into your consciousness. And you become a lot more discerning. And granted, there are phases where you're a lot more sensitive than others, but it's still an unusual thing. For me, I grew up watching like, action movies and, I like mafia movies and like hard rock and roll, and I watched UFC and all these things. There was a point, not really anymore, it's balanced back out, but there was a point where I couldn't, it was not good for me to do any of that. And I became this like purist where I really was like only about all love and light because I was so sensitive to that. Now that's one sort of facet of it. There's many other ways this can be expressed. Even now, for example, I'm looking at this computer screen. In fact, I'm going to dim it. Because being on a computer, it never used to faze me whatsoever. All of a sudden, just like the energy radiating out of this computer, whether it's the Wi-Fi or the blue light, I don't know. It's not good for my energy body. It just makes me feel kind of disoriented, I would say, quite honestly. And it's kind of a weird thing. And it's something that you just kind of have to manage on a case-by-case basis where you are in your journey. But the point is that annoying? Now, Vic, I can't do all the things I used to be able to do. It's harder. I'm a student in school and I have to be on my computer a lot. What's the deal? The other part of that is you're sensitive to energy. Energy is information. Before you were oblivious to the fact that staring at a screen for 5 hours was bad for you. Now you know. So you start making natural changes in your life and then getting to go through life mindful of what makes you feel good and uplifted and tuned into your true self. And then you get to start living your life from that tapped in perspective. Absolutely all areas of your life dramatically improve because of that sensitivity. Another unusual thing you might find yourself doing is experiencing emotions. I would say processes like healings, memories of past lives, things your ancestors went through and never properly dealt with. All of a sudden you are going through what they maybe should have gone through like hundreds of years ago, the trauma and things of that nature. I don't know why this happens, quite honestly, but it does. It does happen to a lot of people. It happened to a lot of people. But to say it's unnerving and uncomfortable and like alarming is putting it lightly. For example, I tapped into past lives where I've lost children, where I know in other lives, take it for what it's worth, I've like lost my children in pretty tragic ways. I've had like insights as to what happened. And then consequently, what started to happen for me is a lot of this fear. I realized my soul became kind of terrified of having that happen again, and I kind of died with that fear. And all of a sudden, I have 3 amazing kids, and all of a sudden, that fear I'm feeling now, even though I have no real actual reason or evidence to justify that intense fear, like something horrible could happen at any second. And I didn't know this. So I started to like, hey Dad, can I go to my friend's house? No, you stay home where it's safe. You know, things like that. My wife would take the kids out for like food or something, and I would be like, babe, you're not back yet. What's going on? She's like, I'm just down the road, honey. Chill. Okay. I let that fear run my life, affect my parenting, drive me bananas, keep me up at night, because no one told me, you're just healing for your ancestors, bro. You're just processing emotions that have nothing to do with you in this lifetime anyway. And next time it happens, even though it's still uncomfortable, those really heavy feelings, it's more about like, okay, this is happening again. I'll just be with them. I'll breathe through it. And you know what? I'll do this for this other version of Victor out there suffering. If I can unburden his load, who am I to say no? Bring it on. We are healing, all of us. Not us in the little sense of I'm Victor and I'm 38 years old. Us as a spirit. All of our lives, all that we are connected to starts to begin to kind of bubble up in your field, be re-experienced. Oftentimes we project it into our life and think, oh, this is why I'm feeling this way. And just as soon as they come up, if you just can chill, they will leave. And as this happens, you vibe, radiate, rev higher and higher and higher and higher. Feel more and more and more like yourself, unburdened, uninfluenced by the past. There is an idea that's real popular now in the mainstream, and everybody wants to find their life purpose. People who go through Kundalini Awakening and they start healing themselves and becoming more and more grounded in their authenticity eventually realize their purpose has been trying to find them. You don't have to look for it. It's calling you from within. And it comes in the form for many as a knowing, an awareness of who you are. And then you start to be able to kind of like assess all the things in your life, and you realize, this is not me. That ain't me. Either is that. I say it kind of facetiously, but sometimes it's like this job, this career I've been doing that I think I like. It's people are used to me doing it. It makes money and pays the bills, and it's what I put my energy and my life work into, and this is what I'm doing. But this is not it. There's something else, something deeper, something more fulfilling. And a lot of people right now watching this, I think, there's a theme I've noticed having this YouTube channel, is that a lot of people right now are being called into this leadership role. And you may have not have ever seen yourself doing it. I never saw myself doing this. I was content being a personal trainer, a family man. I used to grow pot. That was like my hobby and also kind of my career. And all of a sudden it's like, nope, you got to be this YouTube guy. Nope, you got to run these retreats and these live events and coach people and help the people who are going through what you're going through and have been going through. It's no longer, I want to find my purpose. It's like this feeling almost that makes you question the whole free will thing. Like, oh, this is what I think maybe I agreed to do this. And the nice thing is when you yield to that, even though for me it felt kind of forced, like I felt forced into this in a way, in a weird spiritual way. It's the best way I could put it. I felt forced into it. And it was very scary and also kind of upsetting because I liked all the other things I was doing. But once I finally gave into it, I realized I like this actually a lot better. It's actually improved my life dramatically. It's 10 times more fulfilling. It's just, I love it. I love my life and I love what I do. And I really have went through much of my life kind of on edge and on edge, I would say, not feeling safe, feeling out of place. But now that I'm living my purpose, like as fully as I can anyway, there's a feeling of safety. There's a feeling of like being in the flow of life, and life is beautiful. My life is now being created from this alignment. So if you have that call of destiny, my friend, just know you're not alone. It's okay. And it's just your way of guiding yourself to a better life, a life of purpose. And for a lot of you, leadership and service, but also a life of abundance, a life of happiness, a life of satisfaction and joy. Forgot to mention, my friends, before I go, if you want to go deeper, if you want to learn more about the Kundalini Awakening process, I made this other video. I'll put it up here in the left-hand corner. Hopefully it's correct. The left hand, you'll see it, the video. And it's one of my newer videos, and it's like an hour-long deep dive into what it's like to go through a Kundalini Awakening. I go a lot deeper than I did in this video, so feel free to check it out if you'd like. And with that said, have an amazing day, my friends. Thank you for watching. Peace.